You know that weird feeling we all get sometimes? We're living in what is, by far, the most comfortable time in all of human history. We've got more stuff, more tech, more access to, well, everything. And yet something just feels off, doesn't it? It's like we have more, but we feel worse.
I mean, it's a huge paradox, right? We've totally nailed the outer comfort thing, but on the inside, emotionally, a lot of us are more uncomfortable than ever. Anxiety, burnout, depression, that low-grade hum of unease seems to be everywhere. So what's going on? Why does having everything seem to leave us feeling so empty? And look, this isn't just some vague feeling we all have. The data actually backs this up. Take a look at the global happiness rankings. Just over a decade ago, the USA was sitting at 11th place. Now, it's dropped all the way down to 24th. The UK is down to 23rd, which is its lowest spot ever. Something here is clearly not adding. So this is what's known as the happiness paradox. Our whole culture is basically built on this one idea. Happiness comes from out there. You know, the next promotion, the next cool gadget, the next big achievement. But that way of thinking puts us in this weird position where we're always just waiting. We're kind of like prisoners of whatever might happen next. And the psychology here is, well, it's pretty wild. Our brains are literally wired for the chase. That chemical hit we get from pursuing something is often way more powerful than actually getting it. So we get locked into this endless loop of wanting, which just makes us feel like we're never enough. We get the thing, we feel a little bit of relief, and then, boom, the cycle starts all over again. Okay, so how do we get off this hamster wheel? Well, our guide for this journey is someone who had to hit total, absolute rock bottom to figure it out. And he is probably not who you'd expect. So let's meet Gelong Thubten. And this is what makes his story so incredible, because before he was a Buddhist monk advising CEOs, he got himself expelled from Oxford University. Before that, at 14, he was working as a jazz pianist in bars in London, and by the time he was 21, he was living this crazy party lifestyle in Brooklyn and just completely burned out. So he didn't find this path from a place of peace, he found it out of pure desperation.
I mean, you look at his early life, and it was just one thing after another. Running with an older crowd, his parents suddenly splitting up, getting kicked out of Oxford. It all came to a head when he was 21. He woke up one day thinking he was having a heart attack. Turns out, he was diagnosed with a heart condition, and in that completely broken state, a friend of his took him to a monastery up in Scotland.
So this was the soundtrack playing inside his head 24/7. He actually called it his devil voice. And it's so important to understand just how intense this inner suffering was, because that's what he eventually learned to transform. Not by fighting it, but by turning right towards it. Fast forward a few years, he's in this intense 4-year silent retreat, and the suffering got so bad that he literally jumped over the monastery wall to try and escape. But of course, running didn't work. You can't run away from your own mind. When he finally went back, he knew he had to try something completely different.
Now, this was his go-to strategy for years. And let's be honest, it's the trap most of us fall into, right? He felt this awful pain, like a knife twisting in his chest, and he poured all his energy into trying to push it away, analyzing it, blaming his parents, blaming his past. But all that did was make the suffering 100 times worse.
So this forced him to try something completely different, a whole new approach. He decided to turn the pain itself into his meditation. So step 1, he dropped the story, all the reasons why he was hurting. Step 2, he focused only on the raw, physical feeling in his body. And step 3, he learned to just hold that feeling with compassion.
And he came up with this really powerful image to capture that shift. Instead of hating and fighting this broken part of himself, he learned to hold it with kindness. He went from being his own worst enemy to being his own friend. And in that simple act of acceptance, he found that the pain actually started to change.
Okay, so this whole breakthrough, that's really the heart of meditation. But for most of us, the very idea of meditation is just surrounded by all these myths that make it feel completely impossible. We feel like our minds have hijacked us, but what if we just don't really get how to work with them?
First things first, let's just bust the biggest myth right out of the gate. Meditation is not about clearing your mind. If you sit down and try to force your thoughts to stop, you're just going to get more stressed out and feel like a total failure. I mean, like Thubten says, even if you could make your mind go blank for 10 minutes, so what? What would that even do for you?
So if it's not that, what is it? Well, meditation is all about changing your relationship with your mind. It's the practice of noticing your thoughts without getting totally carried away by them. The goal isn't to get rid of your thoughts, it's to stop letting them be the boss of you. There's a great analogy for this. Think of your thoughts and your feelings and worries like clouds in the sky.
They're always changing, always moving, always passing by. Meditation teaches you to stop identifying with the stormy, turbulent clouds, and instead to identify with the sky, that big, open, stable awareness that's always there, holding everything.
And this right here is the big aha moment. You know, when you're trying to focus on your breath and suddenly you kind of snap out of it and realize you've been lost in a daydream for the last 5 minutes? You haven't failed. That moment of realizing, that moment of waking up, that's the meditation. It's like a rep at the gym for your brain. Every single time you gently come back, you're getting strong.
Okay, this all sounds great in theory, but how do you actually do it? The great news is you don't need any special cushions, you don't need incense, you don't need a whole hour of free time. All you need is 10 minutes.
All right, so here's the breakdown. Super simple. 1. Just sit somewhere comfortably with a straight posture. 2. Start with a simple intention of kindness for yourself and for others. 3. Gently focus on the natural feeling of your breath. 4. When your mind wanders, and trust me, it will, just gently guide it back. No big deal. And 5. When you're done, just dedicate any good vibes from the practice to others. That's it. That's the whole thing.
And if you're kind of skeptical, thinking, does this stuff actually work? Well, the science is pretty mind-blowing. Researchers have found visible, measurable changes in people's brain scans after just 4 days of practicing for only 10 minutes a day. This isn't just some nice spiritual idea. You are literally rewiring your brain for more calm, more focus, and more resilience.
And maybe the most important piece of advice is this: let go of quality control. There's no such thing as a bad meditation session. Sometimes your mind will be all over the place, sometimes it'll be calm. It doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is that you showed up. Consistency is everything. Perfection is totally irrelevant. Just do it.
Because at the end of the day, that's what this is all about. It's not about becoming some blissed out person who floats around. It's about learning how to take the driver's seat of your own mind. It's about finding a kind of freedom that doesn't depend on what life decides to throw at you.
So I want to leave you with this final thought. We spend so much time thinking our thoughts are the problem, right? They're the things that hijack our attention and pull us all over the place. But what if they're also the solution? That very same thought that takes you away once you notice it is the exact thing that brings you right back to the present moment. What if that's where true freedom actually begins?